Good morning, everyone. Mr. Pattinson here. Where do we take this project next? The conceptual art project that you're producing will be the result of exploring a number of ideas. We talked about creating possibilities and editing your possibilities, refining your ideas. I have three big areas here: the idea of shelter, music, and books. Today I'm going to explore this idea of music. Music gave me comfort during lockdown. It's something that reflected my experience while I was at home with my family. And we're going to take some time and play around with some of these images. I have some ideas, I've gathered some materials. I'm going to play around today with those materials and pursue some of the possibilities. Thanks. Now for this exploration, I am thinking about time. Time was front of mind while I was at home. I was conscious of the rotating days, the changing weeks, the months that went by. And for that, there was a circularity in my mind to the day-night cycle. I thought about the materials I might use, and I found some plates, some just paper plates from the pantry. And these are round. Starts at one point and ends at one point. So it's a circular shape that reflects that circularity of time. So I thought, well, this is something I can work with. I found some playing cards because I thought it might be interesting to graphically describe and visually describe both night and day. What does that look like? Well, these are light, rigid, and paintable, so that seems like something I could follow up on. I have glue, paint brushes, some black electrical tape. I don't know exactly what I'm going to need, but I'm going to explore here. You might recall from yesterday's lesson that for this possibility, music, computers, records, listening to music, an idea occurred to me, a possible potential idea for my image when I hit record player CDs. That's where the idea occurred, and that's where this notion of circularity, the record player, the paper plates all came to mind. I'm going to see how well this works out, and I'll show you what I've done so far. Ordinary playing cards here, just something I found in a drawer at home. I'm going to use these as my small formatted canvases or cards that I can paint on. You can see there's the ace of diamonds. I've painted a number of them gray. I've painted some blue and black, okay, representing perhaps nighttime and daytime. I also have painted some of the plates. I have two that are painted blue. I have two that are painted gray. I've taken a number of these playing cards, scored them, folded them, and painted them gray. My thinking right now is that these can represent days. And if I want days to somehow have a roundness, a circularity, or even create the impression that one day becomes the next, and in some ways become a blur, I think gray is a pretty good color for a blur. My plan here is to use the plate that has been painted gray and these cards that have been painted gray, and to somehow create the illusion that one day moves to the next, and eventually they all kind of seem the same. That's what I'm hoping for here. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm gluing the bent cards to the top rim of the bottom plate, holding them in place with a little bit of tape. Okay, now I have the cards that have been folded standing on the edge of the plate and glued in place. I have the cards glued to the outside of the plate. Spacing was a bit of an issue, but I've sorted it out. This is the gray card set on the gray plate. Fancy. Now we'll take a second gray plate and attach it over top of the bottom plate that supports the cards. I have two sections glued together, a bottom plate, a top plate, and each of these individual cards that in numbering 7 will represent individual days. I've clamped using little bulldog clips to hold the plates together while the glue dries. pursuing two different ideas at this time, I'm going to repeat the same process with the other set of cards and plates. Okay, now for today, I'm going to leave these to dry, but I have two double-sided discs with my cards around the outside. I have the gray one, and I have the alternating black and blue one. These have been glued together just recently, so we'll give them a bit of time to dry, and I'll let you know where the project goes from here. Now, as these come together, I'm going to give them a little test. I want to see how they turn. So I'll put them on the turntable. A small hole in the bottom of the plate so they'll fit over the peg on my turntable. I think I'll want to stand these cards up a little bit straighter. I'll play around with that idea. But let's see what it looks like when they turn. All right. This is the idea. That might be a little quick, but I'm going for day, night, day, night, day, night, day, night. This is the piece that's all gray. It has 7 cards standing, and each of the 7 cards will represent to me a day of the week. So we'll pop this one on the turntable and see what it looks like. Again, the cards are not in perfect position yet, but they seem to be doing what I want them to do. And if I could have it turn slower, that would make me happy. Hello. We're getting to a really interesting part of the project now, for me anyway, where I can start to bring things together. I have my plates attached together. I have my 7 cards placed at equal distances around the outside of the plate. I've labeled each of the 7 cards for one of the days of the week. The idea here is that everything is circular. The plate is round, the cards are placed in a round pattern around the plate, and that'll mimic or describe the flow of days, one to the next, as the days turn into each other, the weeks turn into each other, and time passes. Time is a theme that I'm interested in exploring. I've labeled the cards, one for each day of the week, and I'm ready now to get it to turn. So I have my record player here. I'm going to put this disc on the record player and we'll see what we have. Okay, it's turning well. And remember, one of the points here is I'm trying to make the point that days blur into each other. The turntable's moving a little bit faster than I would like, but it does enhance the blur, so I should be happy with that. So the only thing that I'd like to add now is music. Well, I lied. I can't help myself. I have to add a couple of post-it notes because I have a couple of favorite occasions that happen every week. I'm going to add these directly to my wheel, and it'll become more like a calendar. 2 of my favorite things are pizza night and garbage day. They're going now, with a little help from Doug and the Slugs, we're going to see how this all comes together. Well, since you last saw the other project that I was working on, I've made some changes. I've added a couple of things, but I think they'll enhance my overall design and the effect of what I'm trying to do. Okay, this one seems to be turning well. I want to light the candle within and see if I can project any light out, and I want to add some music. There's a jazz standard called Night and Day. I'm going to try and play that and see if it all comes together.
That this longing for you follows wherever I go. In the roaring traffic smooth, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you night and day, night and day. Deep in the heart of me, there's a love such a hungry labor inside of me.
Okay, so the paper plate was a little close to the flame. I'll have to work on that. My idea continues to evolve. I need a small light, maybe a tea light that runs on a battery, but something from within. I'll try it again someday, and I'll hope that it doesn't burn the house down. Okay, let's see what other ideas we can develop. Back to school.